هلو ملګرو، ستاسو د مخې فار د فرست ټایم زه یو پی ټي ای ټیسټ اټمپټ کوم. دا دوه نیمې غنټې ټیسټ دی او پریکټس ټیسټ دی، فری ټیسټ دی. زه ستاسو د مخې اټمپټ کوم. 57 کوېسچنز دي. فار د فرست ټایم مخکې دا ما نه دی کړی او نه مې پریکټس کړی دی، نه مې ورله تیاری کړی دی. ستاسو د مخې لایو زه دا ټیسټ د سټارټ نه د اینډ پورې کوم. تاسو به یې ووینئ، ستاسو د نظر نه به هم تیر شي دا ټیسټ څنګه کیږي، کم قسم کوېسچنز پکې راځي، څنګه ورله جوابونه ورکول غواړي. 57 کوېسچنز دي ان ټوټل. دا ټیسټ ماته فری میلاو شوی ده. ته هم ښیم چې یاره ماته څنګه میلاو شوی دی. که تاسو فرض کې ګوګل ته لاړ شئ، په ګوګل کې تاسو سرچ کولی شئ چې where to sorry where to find a free PTE mock test. نو دلته کې تاسو بیا دا مختلف ویب سایټس به راځي، په هغې کې یو ویب سایټ به وي ګورولی. صحیح شو؟ په دې ګورولی ویب سایټ باندې چې کله تاسو کلیک کوئ نو تاسو به زه راځم، الریډي ما ډاونلوډ کړی دی، انسټال کړی دی. ډاونلوډ او انسټالیشن پکې نشته، خو فری ساین اپ دی. دا ګیټ فری موک ټیسټ، په دې به کلیک کوئ. تاسو به ساین اپ کړئ، تاسو به خپل ایمیل پکې پوټ کوئ، په ایمیل به ته او ټي پي راشي، هغه به ساین ان کوئ. بیا به پکې واتس اپ نمبر ورکوئ، په واتس اپ به ته او ټي پي راشي، هغه به ساین ان کوئ. کله چې دغه سټپس تاسو کمپلیټ کړو نو تاسو به دې ځای ته راولي. دې ته وایي app.guruli.com/pte/mock. دې ته چې تاسو راشئ، تاسو په دې ډیشبورډ پیج باندې یئ. د دې ډیشبورډ پیج نه به تاسو راشئ دې ماک ټیسټ پیج ته. دې پیج ته به راشئ. دې پیج ته چې راشئ نو دا ټول پیډ ټیسټ دی چې کوم تاسو بیا لیټر ان اخیستی شئ په 6 USD باندې. خو دا اولنی نیو ټیسټ 1 چې دی دا بالکل فریلی اویلیبل دی. راځئ اټمپټ کوئ چې په دې کې څه راځي، څنګه راځي او څنګه کیږي. اوکې لیټس گو. سټارټ ټیسټ باندې کلیک کوو. سټارټ ټیسټ باندې چې کله تاسو کلیک کوئ نو داسې یو دغه به راشي، دا به الاو کوئ. ټیک شو. ښه، مین خبره بله دا ده چې تاسو به ګوګل کروم براوزر یوز کوئ. ما چې دی نو هغه بل براوزر یوز کو، اوپرا براوزر مې یوز کو، ایجو. نو دا براوزر یې په دې باندې صحیح نه راتلی، صرف ګوګل کروم به تاسو یوز کوئ. ولې چې هغه کوکیز هم اکسپټ کوي، جاوا سکرپټ او ریزولوشن یې ټیک دی، ریکومینډډ براوزر دی او مایکروفون یې انیبلډ دی. نو دا سیسټم پکار دی چې تاسو ټول ګرینی. بیا به تاسو کلیک کوئ په نیکسټ باندې. دا څه آډیو ډاونلوډ کوي آی بیلیو. پته نه لګي چې دا یې ولې ډاونلوډ کو. خیر که ډاونلوډ کې صحیح شو نشته. دلته کې وایي چې تاسو خپل هیډفون چیک کوئ، نو دا پلی کوي. هیډفون به تاسو لګولی، مایکروفون به هم تاسو لګولی، دا پکې لازمي پوینټ دی. بیا به مایکروفون او هیډفون دواړه تاسو له چیک کوئ چې دا کار کوي که نه کوي. ولې پی ټي ای د دې نه بغیر نه کېږي. نو موږ دا پلی کوو. وایي کلیک پلی ټو بګین.
Unit 1, page 12. Conversation listening. Conversation 1.
So, nice to meet you.
You too.
Where are you from?
From? I'm from here. Well, near here. I live just outside the city in the suburbs with my family.
The suburbs. That's nice. And do you have a hobby?
Who has time for hobbies? I guess I like studying.
Studying?
Yeah, well, that's what I do most of the time. I want
ها نو هیډفون زما بالکل کار کوي. تاسو به هم دا آډیو اورېدلي. وایي this is an opportunity to check your headset is working correctly. Put your headset on and adjust so that it is comfortable over your ears. When you are ready, click on the play button. You will hear a short recording. څنګه چې already ما وکړو پلی باندې کلیک کنوئ، تا ته به یو آډیو پلی شي. ښه، بیا درته دا خبره هم کوي چې نیکسټ ټیسټ کې به پلی او سټاپ بټن نه وي، آډیو به د ځانه پلی کېږي. نو الریډي پکار دی چې ستا هیډفون لګېدلی تھرو آؤٹ د ټیسټ، ستا هیډفون لګېدلی که نه، هیډ سیټ به نه ریموو کړئ. دلته کې تاسو اینئ او پلی بټن به پکې نه وي، د ځانه به آډیو پلی کېږي. ټیک ده. خو دا صرف تاسو ته هیډفون چیک کوو. نو ما چیک کو، زما هیډفون صحیح دی. ښه، دا چې دی د مایکروفون د چیک خبره کوي. بیا ته اوس خپل مایکروفون چیک کړه چې اواز کوي که اواز نه کوي. صحیح شو. وایي پلیس هیډسیټ مایکروفون 2 fingers width from the mouth corner and below lip for optimal sound quality. ستا د هیډفون چې کوم مایکروفون دی صحیح شو. نو هغه یو د خولې نه دوه ګوتې لرې ساته او د خولې نه لوکوټې ښکته ساته، نو بیا به اپټیمل آډیو کوالټي، مطلب دا دی د مایکروفون په دې سر کې چې کم واړه واړه سوري په هغې کې ستا اواز ریسیو کېږي، نو پکار دی چې هغه ستا خولې ته مخامخ راشي. مین پوینټ دغه دی، نو ستا اواز به صحیح راځي. ولې اواز پکې ډېر امپورټنټ دی. ته به آډیو چې دی نو په خولې باندې وې، نو دغې وجې نه پکې راتلی شي. وایي place headset microphone 2 fingers width from the mouth corner and below lip for optimal sound quality and to record the voice. صحیح شو. بیا سوی once positioned correctly student should not touch the headset or move the microphone. Speak loudly and clearly to capture the voice on microphone. microphone چې د څنګه سیټ اپ کو نو بیا به یې بدلی نو ریکارډ بټن ووهه او آډیو ریکارډ کا. Hello, this is Feroz Khan speaking. I'm speaking into my microphone just to test if microphone is working or not. It is 2 fingers width from my mouth, just below my lips. I think it is the ideal position, so it should be working. Let's see how it goes. Playback. Hello, this is Feroz Khan speaking. I'm speaking into my microphone just to test if microphone is working or not. It is 2 fingers width from my mouth, just below my lips. I think it is the ideal position, so it should be working. Let's see how it goes. نو تاسو واورېده چې آډیو زما مایکروفون هم زما صحیح دی. اوس په نیکسټ کو، البته لږ کشار یې پکې راتو. نو موږ به اوس په نیکسټ باندې کلیک کو. بیا که داسې یو ډاونلوډ ډایلاګ تاسو ته راځي نو دا په مخه باندې کینسل کوئ چې دا درته نه راځي. So you have personal introduction. Read the prompt below in 25 seconds. You must reply in your own words as naturally and clearly as possible. You have 30 seconds to record your response. Please introduce yourself. For example, your interest, your plan, future study. You want to study abroad. Why you need to learn English? Why you choose this? Hi, I am highly interested in psychology. My interest is psychology basically, and I plan to study that in the UK. That's why I'm trying to do a PTE test. I want to study abroad because I want to get more exposure and a cosmopolitan experience. I want to learn English because it is a requirement of my study, and I chose this test because it is done on computer, which is صحیح شو. نو دا پرسنل انټروډکشن وی چې دا انټروډکشن ته وکړه. read the prompt below in 25 seconds. دا په 25 سیکنډ کې you must reply in your own words as naturally and clearly as possible. You have 30 seconds to record your response. Please introduce yourself. For example, you could talk about one of the more the following. نو دا خو ما وکړو. ها سیکشن 1 لمنګ راډیو 25 to 30 minutes دی زموږ سره دا سپیکینګ ټیسټ دی پارت 1. ها دا پارت 1 زموږ سره سپیکینګ ټیسټ دی او په دې کې به ریډ الاود به راځي، ریپیټ سنټنس به راځي، ډسکرایب ایمیج به راځي، ریټیل لیکچر به راځي او انسر شارټ کوېسچن به راځي په دې سیکشن کې. او دا به سپیکینګ سیکشن نو زه پکې خبرې کوم زیاتر او 25 نه والا 30 منټ پورې به دا ټیسټ نو ځئ ګورو چې څه کېږي. Look at the text below, 35 seconds. You must read the text aloud as naturally and clearly as possible. You have 40 seconds to read aloud. There is every reason to believe that offensive regulations are not merely a luxury that only the rich can afford, but an important foundation for a thriving private sector and economic growth. But the broad pattern of the past 5 years have been that the main reform efforts taking place in rich countries. اوس به سٹارټ کیږي بیا به زه دا وایم. There is every reason to believe that effective regulations are not merely a luxury that only the rich can afford, but an important foundation for a thriving private sector and economic growth. But the broad pattern of the past 5 years has been that the main reform efforts taking place in rich countries ها سا مې ځان ته بند کړو ما چې کشاره پکې را نشي نو 40 سیکنډز زما سره وو او ما ډیر زر دا پیراګراف وې مطلب دا ښه خبره ده خو ستا سره 40 سیکنډز شته چې ته پکې دا پیراګراف ریډ کې ما له کوټې زر ریډ کو آی تھنک دیټس فاین دا ټیکسټ وای ښه په دې کې به ویجیلنٹ اوسېږئ ها look at text within 35 seconds you must increase responsible you have 40 seconds to allow. The advantage of the great European and American orchestra is that they were able to establish their iconic status in an age where their identity could become entrenched. There was less competition, and it was easier to create brand. Not only did they have the best halls, house Padarit go after the beep. The advantage of the great European and American orchestra is that they were able to establish their iconic status in an age where their identity could become entrenched. There was less competition and it was easier to create brand. Not only did they have the best halls, they attracted the best musicians who tended to stay put. ها نو بیا اډیو چې ده هغه ما د 40 سیکنډ نه مخکې وې او اني هاو په ریډینګ کې زه ښه یم څه مسله نشته نیکسټ ویک Look at the text below in 35 seconds. You must read the text aloud as naturally as possible. دا ټیکسټ به بیا ریډ کې او ستا سره 31 سیکنډ دی چې ته یې ریډ کې او بیا 40 سیکنډ دی چې ته بیا ووایې. Quite obviously, a significant rise in the number of people in a given area or country will affect the demand for a whole host of goods and services. Note that a change in the structure of the population will increase the for some goods but reduce the demand for others. ډیر سیمپل دی د کاما نه وروسته به لوکوټې سټاپ هلی فول سټاپ په ځای به افټر به بیا ودرېږئ بیپ نه وروسته به سټارټ هلو Quite obviously, a significant rise in the number of people in a given area or country will affect the demand for a whole host of goods and services. Note that a change in the structure of the population will increase the demand for some goods but reduce the demand for others. غلطي مې پکې یو وکړه د افیکټ په ځای مې افیکټ ویلی او بیا مې دوباره ووی چې دوباره مې نه ویلی نو هو ښه وه اني هاو اوس کار شوی دی مخې ته ځو دا شی په مخه پاپ اپ کېږي خو زه به یې کینسل کوم ښه دا ټیکسټ چې دی نو په 35 سیکنډز کې ریډ کا بیا به یې ته په 40 سیکنډز کې وی extroverts tend to move quickly and try to influence situations directly while introverts give themselves time to develop their insights before exposing themselves to the world. Extroverts are making happy making decisions in thick of events while introverts want to reflect before taking action. بیپ نه وروسته به دا وایو Extroverts tend to move quickly and try to influence situations directly, while introverts give themselves time to develop their insights before exposing themselves to the world. Extroverts are happy making decisions in the thick of events, while introverts want to reflect before taking action. نو زما سره تاسو سره یوزولي 35 سیکنډز چې تاسو دا پکې ځان ورته ریډي کړئ او بیا 40 سیکنډز چې کله ټلی وکړي نو د 40 سیکنډز کې به بیا دا پیراګراف ورته ریډ کړئ. نو ما ورته ریډ کړو. هلته درته ټایم ریمینینګ ښایي زما سره دونه ټایم پاتې دی او دومره کوېسچنز دي. Thirty five seconds की बिया read का 40 seconds की बिया हुआ है. Tissues are grouped together in the body to form organs. These include the brain, heart, lungs, kidneys, and liver. For kama की बस stop के each body organ has a specific shape and is made up of different types of tissue that work together. For example, the heart consists mainly of a specialized type of muscle tissue, which contracts rhythmically to provide the heart's pumping action. Rhythmically. Tissues are grouped together in the body to form organs. These include the brain, heart, lungs, kidneys, and liver. Each body organ has a specific shape and is made of different types of tissues that work together. For example, the heart consists mainly of a specialized type of muscle tissue, which contracts rhythmically to provide the heart's pumping action. دام کمپلیټ شو مخې ته ځو. The assembly also decided that at this special session it would adopt a concise and action-oriented political declaration agreed upon in advance by consensus through intergovernmental negotiations under the auspices of the conference. Difficult words غټ غټ words یې پکې درکړي دي خو ستاسو سره ټایم شته چې تاسو په خپله ژبه ازاده کړئ د وینا نه مخکې ځکه چې د بیپ نه وروسته به تاسو وینا کوئ. The assembly also decided that at that special session it would adopt a concise and action-oriented political declaration agreed upon in advance by consensus through intergovernmental negotiations under the auspices of the conference. نو دا هم کمپلیټ شو ملګرو. نیکسټ وهو ولې چې ټایم را سره لږ دی بره. یو سنټنس پکې واورئ.
Reading widely is an important part of undergraduate study.
Reading widely is an important part of undergraduate study. په دې ټیسټ کې به ډېر اکټیو اوسئ کې ملګري.
Having snow means no flight can take off or land.
Having snow means no flight can take off or land. بل هم کمپلیټ شو. دی به اوس ماته آډیو وایي او زه به ورته دوباره ریپیټ کوم کله چې بیپ وشي.
Modern computer memory is extended every year.
Modern computer memory is extended every year.
Fast food has become very popular with many students.
Fast food has become very popular amongst the students. How many students were among the students were the mistake there for dona na matter kai as long as the flow is right. Next Taju.
Journalism has undergone many changes in recent years.
Journalism has undergone many changes in the recent years.
The key witnesses of the event are factors of your convention.
The key witnesses of the events are factors of your convention. بس ما ورته ووایې مخې ته به یې پته لګي چې څه وشو.
They did blood tests on him for signs of vitamin deficiency.
They did blood test on him for signs of blood deficiency. Okay, let's go. Let's go. Let's go.
Theater study courses encourage students to exercise creativity.
Theater studies encourage students to exercise creativity. دی خبره ټیمه دی او زه یې ورته ډېر زر وایم خو دا خبرې لږ کمپلیکیټډ دي په اورېدو کې به ډېر زیات اټینشن ورکړئ چې صحیح صحیح یې واورئ که نه ګورئ بیا د سړي نه خطا کېږي. دلته به ورته ریډي ناست.
Online courses allow students to work at their pace.
Online courses allowed students to work in their own pace. In their own pace مې وویل دا on their own pace پکارو غلطي مو وکړه anyhow on their own pace.
Businesses must obey contemporary general regulations.
Businesses must obey contemporary general regulations. Look at the game image in 25 seconds. Please speak into the microphone and describe the brief information. The share rate का أول بيا بيوي death number, death rate per thousand population. The death rate has a significant flow from 9 to 60,000. The chart shows the death and death rates between 1943 and 2014. It can be seen that the deaths have a steep incline since 1941 to 2011, while the death rate has a steady decline as opposed to the deaths in general. یاره څنګه مې ووی خو زه ته ډېر سیټسفاید نه یم لږ یې کنفیوز کړی وم خو اني هاو ومې ریزلټس ته به یې ګورو بیا نیکسټ پریپریشن مو له نه دی کړی که نه د سره The image shows the greenhouse gas emissions in 2013 at the location of Alberta. And these are the CO2 emissions. The most inner circle shows 15 megatons, while the second circle shows 50 megatons. 150 megatons is the next one, and the last bigger circle is the 350 megatons. Which is the legend for reading the structures given. The red circles is electricity, while oil sands and upgrading is shown as a blue circle. خپل وس مې وکړو یاره nationalities of NHS unit staff as percentage of the workforce. EU and EEA. ها د NHS staff چې دی په انګلند کې نو زیاتره staff د انګلند نه دی بیا د EU نه. The bar chart shows the different nationalities of NHS employees as a percentage of the workforce. It can be seen that all staff, the majority staff members or workforce is from the UK. The second more population is from the rest of the world, while the third one is from the UK and the European Union. The doctors are also mostly from UK, and then from the rest of the world, and the least are from the European Union. Nurses and health visitor in the same way is mostly from UK, while the second most from rest of the world. Shit. لږ سلو شم په دې اخره کې. anyhow خبره مو ته پوره کړې ده. Suicide in England. Rate of suicide for number of population, 100,000 population in England for the people, males and females in age 10 and over, 21 to 25. 2015 registrations. Suicide rate per 100,000 population from 1981 to 2015. The chart shows the suicide rate per 100,000 of the population in England from the year 1981 to the year 2015. It can be seen that all three are on a steady decline. From 21, all persons are declining in the blue color, while in the red color, males are also having a decline rate of suicide, while females similarly are showing a decline of suicide rates from 1981 to 2015. دا یو میخه وکړو د دې یو نه سیټسفاید یم. لیکچر به واورې او بیا به یې وې.
You see, camels are one of the only animals in the world that store all their fat in one spot. And that's useful for keeping cool in a hot climate because heat can escape faster from the rest of their body, which helps them maintain a lower body temperature. Compare that to other mammals like humans who store fat all over, making it a lot harder to stay cool. Today, camels still use the fat in their humps as a food reserve, but they're not the only ones. In extreme circumstances, the Turkana tribe in Kenya, for example, will eat camel fat to survive.
They suffer a lot from periods of extreme drought. And I have seen these people, they've been very, very short of food. And this is difficult to believe, but it's true. Slit open the top of a camel's hump, take out the fat for their own consumption, and then put the top of the hump back on again.
But don't worry. The camel makes a full recovery and instances are rare. But this practice has started to generate some buzz around camel fat as a new superfood. Turns out, camel fat is loaded with fatty acids, vitamins, and minerals.
اوس به ته دا ټول شی ریپیټ کو په سمپل خپلو الفاظو کې 40 seconds کې. The audio was about the camels that they can store fat in one specific location as compared to humans who can store fat all over. So camel can release the heat in their body very easily because the fat is in one specific spot. Some tribe in Kenya use that fat from the camels for their own consumption. That's why there was the general notion and consensus of the word that that fat in the camel is some kind of superfood for these Kenyans. That was what the audio was saying. بس ومې ورته د کیمل په باره کې خبره وه چې فیټ په یو ځای کې سټور کوي انسان یې په هر ځای کې سټور کوي. بیا لیکچر واوره وی وایه.
Airlines can make a lot of money by flying to the right places. British Airways, for example, long ago cemented themselves as the leader on the London Heathrow to New York JFK route, and flying between these two airports now earns them over $1 billion per year. That's more than any airline makes on any other route in the world. Conversely, though, airlines can lose a lot of money by flying to the wrong places. American Airlines, for example, recently canceled their Chicago to Beijing flight as it was losing them tens of millions of dollars per year. Now, the fact that this route failed might be puzzling considering it flew between the world's 50th and the world's 7th largest city. Even more, they were flying the 787H Dreamliner, the smallest plane they could on this route. Nonetheless, it was truly a financial disaster. The airline said that, in terms of annual revenue, the route was $80 million away from their target. The truth is that deciding where to fly is a lot more complicated than pairing up the largest cities. It's an art that people spend their whole lives mastering, and the difference between an airline that's good at route planning and one that's bad at it can be the difference between a profitable airline and a defunct one.
the lecture was about how airlines make humongous amount of money if they fly to the right places, as compared to flying to the wrong places can cost them a lot of money. Example of the American airlines was given that they were flying to the wrong cities, taking a very huge route, longest route, and that's why they were losing money, as compared to the British airline. By flying to a specific spot in the world can make them a whole lot of money, while the distance is not so much, fuel consumption, everything is fine, so they are making a lot of money. So this is the difference between a profitable and non-profitable airline. Phew. پته به یې لګي به یې وروسته.
Whose job is it to treat people that are ill or have an injury at a hospital?
It is the doctor's job to treat ill people. دا چا جاب دی چې خلک به ټریټ کوي؟ ناجوړه خلک. ما وی د ډاکټر جاب دی.
How do you call someone with no hair?
A bald person. چې ویښته یې نه وي هغه ته به څه وایي؟ ما وی کټا به ورته وایي.
What is the antonym of maximum?
The antonym is minimum. The maximum opposite څه دی؟ my minimum.
What is a violent conflict between two or more countries?
The violent conflict is war.
What is the top surface inside a room?
The top surface is called roof. Roof. چت ته وایي. څه وایي؟ ما وی روف. په کمرې کې چې وایي چت. اوس دویم سیشن سټارټ کیږي. رایټینګ. ټیک ده. زمونږ سپیکینګ چې دی هغه ختم شو. اوس زمونږ د رایټینګ نمبر دی. سمرایز ریټن ټیکسټ به پکې او ایسې به پکې. سمرایز ریټن ټیکسټ لپاره 10 منټس دي او د ایسې لپاره 20 منټس دي زمونږ سره. ریټن ټیکسټ به راغی به سمرایز کوو. په دلته کې به اوس تاسو ټایپینګ سپیډ په کار راځي چې ته څومره کویکلی ټایپینګ کولی شې که نه، نو امر به ته زر زر په دې دغه کې دننه ستا وکیبلري هم په کار راځي، کاما، پنکچویشن، فول سټاپ، وکیبلري، ډیفیکلټ ورډز او فلو اف د ټیکسټ. دا مختلف څیزونه ستا په کار راځي کله چې ته یو ټیکسټ سمرایز کوې یا چې ته یو ایسې لیکې. 30 منټس ډېر شی دی زموږ دپاره او 2 سیکشنې دي. رایټینګ دی. زه چې زو د رایټینګ ورته دی وایي خو اصل کې دا ټایپینګ دی ولې چې دا خو کمپیوټر بیس دی که نه ته به یې ټایپ کې. نیکسټ وهو. read the passage below and summarize it using one sentence. صرف یو سنټنس به لیکي. زما سره 10 minutes دي. Type your response in the box at the bottom of the screen. You have 10 minutes to finish this task. Your response will be judged on the quality of your answer. په یو سنټنس کې به دا ټول پیراګراف شو کې. The area that is now South Africa has been inhabited by humans for millennia. The original inhabitants of this land were migratory people who lived in small groups of about 15 to 20 people. They survived by fishing and hunting and by gathering roots and other wild foods. They did not build permanent dwellings but used rock shelters as temporary dwellings. Around 2000 Around 2000 years ago, the Hoi pastoralists migrated to the coast in the eastern part of present-day South Africa. Iron working societies date from about 300 AD. The Sotho-Swana and the Guni people arrived in this region around 1200 AD. They lived by agriculture and stock farming, mined gold, copper, and tin, and hunted for ivory, and built stone-walled towns. Over the centuries, these societies had diverse contacts with the Khoisan. Strife between the San and Khoi developed over the game competition. Eventually, the Khoi became dominant. These people lived in the western part of present-day South Africa and are known collectively as Khoisan. Groups of 15 to 20. Menial ways of living. Survived in South Africa. Leading the way for the Khoi, the Sotho-Swana, the Nguni, and some people. The paragraph is about how different people in groups of 15 to 20 using menial ways of living survived in South Africa, leading the way for Khoi, the Sotho-Swana, Nguni, and San people. Outbreak of war led only to the survival of the Hoi people, which who are currently residing in South Africa and are known as the Khoisan. بس دا یو سنټنس شو کنه، دا یو سنټنس ځکه شو چې فول سټاپ ما په اخر کې کړی دی او په منځ کې مې فول سټاپ نه دی کړی، ځکه دا یو سنټنس دی. ټیک شو، کاماز مې صرف د دې لپاره کړي دي چې د دې ځای نه زما ټون بدل شو، اوس زه بل ټون کې خبرې کوم. ټیک شو، زما سره لا 3.5 منټه شته، نو زه یې درته ایکسپلین کوم. ځکه وای the paragraph is about how different people in groups of about how different people in groups of 15 to 20 using menial ways of living survived in South Africa, leading the way for Hoi Hoi, the Sotho-Swana, Nguni, and San people. Outbreak of war led only to the survival of the Hoi Hoi people, who are currently residing in South Africa and are known as the Khoisan. د 15 نه د 20 خلکو ګروپونه به په ساوت افریقا کې اوسېدو او هانټینګ او دا دغه به یې کول، هانټینګ به یې کول او زیرې به یې کتې، وایلډ خوراکونه به یې کتل او دغه څیزونه به یې خوړل. په ساوت افریقا کې به اوسېدو. دا ګروپونه بیا پې دا سوتوسوانا خلک پې رالو، بیا پې نیګوني خلک رالو، بیا پې سان خلک رالو، بیا د سان خلکو په منځ کې او د دې خویسان خلکو په او د دې خوی خوی خلکو په منځ کې جنګ وشو او د خوی خوی خلکو جنګ وګټو. نو په ساوت افریقا کې اوس هم دغه خوی خوی خلک اوسېږي او دې ته په جمع باندې خویسان خلک وایي، چې دا خویسان خلک دی او په ساوت افریقا کې اوسېږي. مینلی د خبرې مطلب هم دغه دی، خو چې دا سنټنس زما دې صحیح دی که نه دی. Paragraph is about how different people in groups of 15 to 20 using menial ways of living survived in South Africa, leading the way for Hoi Hoi, the Sotho-Swana, Nguni, and San people. Outbreak of war led only to the survival of the Hoi Hoi people, who are currently residing in South Africa and are known as Khoisan. Total word count 58. ستا انسر چې دی که نه، هغه به ستا کوالټي اف انسر ته ګوري، نور به څه ته نه ګوري، خو چې یو سنټنس وي او کوالټي اف انسر دې څنګه وي. نو ما د دومره غټ پیراګراف نه یو دونه کچ پیراګراف جوړ کړو، کوالټي ما ته ښه ښکاري. بس نیکسټ کولی شم. ها 10 منټه دې دپاره دي. اوس پیسج ریډ کا او په یو سنټنس کې سمرایز کا، خپل سنټنس به په دې ځای کې لیکې. ستا سره 10 منټه دي او کوالټي اف انسر ته به ستا موږ ګورو. what makes it muggy? Like the heat index, muggy is a feel-like condition, except it has to do more with how breathable the air feels than how hot it feels. The muggier the weather, the less chance you will feel cool because of decreased evaporation rates, which is why the following weather conditions are notoriously linked to the muggiest of days and nights. وای د مګي چې دی نو دا یو قسمه هیټ انډیکس دی خو فیل لایک کنډیشن دی چې هوا چې دا هغه څومره بریدبل ده. صحیح شو. muggier the weather, the less chance you will feel cool because of decreased evaporation rates, which is why the following weather conditions are notoriously linked to the muggiest of days and nights. Warm air temperatures, generally 70 degrees Fahrenheit or above. The warmer the air, the more moisture it's able to hold. High moisture, the more moisture there is in the air, the heavier it feels. نو هوا چې څومره ګرمي نو همره moisture هولډ کولی شي او چې کله moisture سیوی نو heavy feel کیږي بیا. And low winds, the less wind there is, the fewer air molecules there are passing over your skin, evaporating and cooling you off. چې هوا څونه کمی نو امر به ستا په وجود باندې کمه هوا تیریږي او تا به لږ یخی ستانه به هیټ نه evaporate کیږي لکه ډیر به نه evaporate کیږي نو ته به یخیږي. Since mugginess expresses how moist the air feels, you might think that relative humidity would be a good indicator of how muggy it feels outside. However, dew point temperature is a better measure of mugginess. Why? Dew point not only gives you an indication of how moist air is, but how warm it is as well. Her dew point چې دی د humidity یو ښه میجر نه دی خو dew point temperature چې دی دا یو ښه میجر دی ځکه dew point تا ته وایي چې هوا چې ده څومره ګرمه ده how moist air is. Dew will not only give an indication of how moist and how warm it is. چې څونه moist دی او څونه ګرم دی نو dew point temperature به ته دواړه وایي. Since dew point temperature can go as high as but never higher than the actual air temperature. So if the dew point is high, it means both air moisture and temperature probably are too. دلته ته لیکلی شي که نه muggy or mugginess is the feeling of the air, humidity and temperature. How hot it feels. Of air, breathability. Warm air temperatures, high moisture and low winds. The more the lower the winds, the lower the winds are, the less chance of evaporation lesser is the chance of evaporation and higher is the moisture is higher, which would describe the mugginess. The mugginess of the air. It is measured better by dew point than it is by humidity. By the humidity measure, because dew point indicates both air moisture and temperature. Muggy or mugginess is the feeling of the air breathability. Humidity and temperature. The lower the winds are, lesser is the chance of evaporation and the moisture is higher, which would the lesser is the chance of evaporation and higher is the which would describe the mugginess of the air. It is measured better by dew point than it is by the humidity measure, because dew point indicates both air moisture and temperature. Muggy or mugginess is the feeling of the air breathability, humidity, and temperature. The lower the winds are, lesser is the chance of evaporation, and the higher is the moisture, which would describe the mugginess. Which would describe the mugginess of the air. It is measured better by dew point than it is by humidity measure, because dew point indicates both air moisture and temperature. خپل کوشش مې په وکړو اورې دا شی مې ورته داسې سمپلیفای کو دا پیراګراف مې ورته سمپلیفای کو خپل الفاظو کې ګورو چې څه کېږي ډېر ډیفیکلټ ورډز او ډیفیکلټ سټرکچرز دا مې پکې نه دي یوز کړي آی ډونټ تھنک خو بس دغه شانتي و ورډ کاونټ مې 59 شو او فول سټاپ مې صرف په اخره کې کړی دی کاماز مې کړي دي او دلته کې مې سیمی کالن کړی دی چې د دې دا سنټنس چې دی دا د دې برنۍ ایکسپلینیشن دی نو کله چې یو سنټنس ولیکې او بیا یې ایکسپلین کوې نو بیا پکې سیمی کالن کولی شي ټایم از کمپلیټډ اوس بیا ښه شی دی خو دا پیراګراف وړوکی دی ښه دا خو ایسې دی اوس سوی زما سره 20 منټس دی د دې ایسې د لیکلو دپاره ټاپک یې راله کړی دی your response will be just how will you develop a position, organize your ideas, present supporting details and control the elements of standard written English. You should write 200 to 300 words. د 200 نه د 300 ورډز پورې به لیکې او چې څونه ښکلي ارګومنټس دې جوړ کړو څونه ښکلی د سنټنس سټرکچر هغومره به ته ډېر مارک میلاویږي څه وایي وایي many workers like nurses and teachers should get more pay especially in recent years when people in finance, film actors and company leaders are paid a larger amount of money. To what extent do you agree or disagree with the above statement and what's your opinion? وای پکار دی چې نرسانو او ټیچرانو ته ډېرې پیسې میلاو شي په نسبت د فلم اکټرانو او د کمپنی لیډرز. ځکه وای ستا د دې په باره کې اوپینین څه دی د دې خبرې په باره کې؟ څنګه چې the given topic makes an excellent observation and suggestion about how film actors and film actor financiers in company leaders get paid the big bucks while was the most important people in society most important and hardworking people of society get paid relatively smaller amounts. The given topic makes an excellent observation and suggestion about how film actors, financiers, and company leaders get paid the big bucks, whilst the most important and hardworking people of society get paid a relatively smaller amount. Company leaders get paid the big bucks, whilst the most important and hardworking people of society gets paid relatively smaller amounts of money. This, in my view, is quite a convincing argument to keep in mind. This, in my view, is quite a convincing argument to make in relation to the pay gap between these various professions. This, in my view, is quite a convincing argument to make in relation to the pay gap between these various professions and their respective value to society. It seems in the present day and age entertainment has been put on a pedestal over all other categories of work purely on the basis of its cathartic nature. Purely on the basis of its cathartic nature and its ability to take a person away for a while, to take a person's mind away for a while from the troubles of his present life situation. It seems in the present day and age, entertainment has been put on a pedestal where all other categories of work, purely on the basis of its cathartic nature and its ability to take a person's mind away for a while take a person's minds away from the troubles of his or her present life situation. Although it does play a crucial role in the mental stability and sanity of the present populace of the world. It mustn't be glorified. It mustn't be glorified by our own minds or the media or all other important pillars of society in the way it has been in the past. Also, it seems in the present day and age, entertainment has been put on a pedestal where all other categories of work, purely on the basis of its cathartic nature and its ability to take a person's mind away from the troubles of his and her present life situation. Although It does play a crucial role in the mental stability and sanity of the present populace of the world. It mustn't be glorified by our own minds or the media, or all other important pillars of society, in the way it has been in the past. Financial gurus, advisors, and accountants play their own crucial and significant role in society. Their own crucial and significant role in society. But a but to give a unique place but to give them a unique place of respect and admiration over all other people because of their vocation and mental aptitude toward this field is quite unfair. Would be quite unfair. The financial gurus, advisors and accountants play advisors, investors and accountants play their spelling mistakes with it. Play their own crucial and significant role in society, but to give them a unique place of respect and admiration over all other people, over all other individuals, and their occupations because of their vocation and mental aptitude toward this field would be quite unfair. In their respective occupations because of their vocation and mental aptitude toward the field would be quite unfair. Company leaders are a whole new story. The efforts they put into building something from scratch in most scenario is a reward worthy quest. Company letters are a whole new story, are a whole different story. The efforts they put into building something from scratch in most scenarios is a reward worthy quest. They, if any, if any, should be put on a pedestal because they contribute the most to a nation's economy, and employment rates. They, if any, should be put on a pedestal because they contribute the most to a nation's economy and employment rates. They are the building blocks of a strong economically stable cosmopolitan. They are the building blocks of a strong, economically stable, cosmopolitan, and noteworthy nation. This shall not diminish in any way the role of doctors and nurses in society. As a whole. Shit is a whole. بس ها صحیح شو یاره لږ ټایم را سره وی چې ما د سر نه د یخه پورې ریډ کړی وی او میسټیکس مې ترې ویستی وی خو دومره ټایم را سره نشتی اوس ټایم از ګون خو خیر ما یو وار دوه کتلی دی it should be fine زه ترې سیټسفاید یم ها اوس څه دي ریډینګ اوس به ریډینګ کوو ریډینګ به کوو په دې کې یو 30 منټس به لګي او ریډینګ اینڈ رایټینګ فل ان د بلینکس به کوو ملټیپل چوایس چوز ا سنگل انسر به کوو ملټیپل چوایس چوز ملټیپل انسر به کوو ری آرډر پیراګراف به کوو او ریډینګ فل ان د بلینکس به کوو 29 to 30 منټس به زمونږ ریډینګ هلي او آی تھنک د دې نه وروسته بیا لیسنینګ پاتې دی او دغه بیا اخرنی نو موږ نږدې شوي یو نیکسټ وهو ټایم نه خرابو why companies are struggling to compete in the market due to the availability of different types of competitors. Why companies are struggling to compete Below is the text. Below is a text with blanks. Click on each blank. A list of choice will appear. Select the appropriate answer choice for each blank. نو دا یو پیراګراف دی او دا پکې مختلف بلینکس دي. نو په کم بلینک کې چې کم ټکی صحیح راځي نو هغه به داسې کلیک کې او صحیح ټکی به پکې سلیکټ کې. چې پیراګراف یو شانتي سنس جوړوي نو داسې ټکی به پکې سلیکټ کې. نو companies are struggling to compete in the market due to the availability of different types of competitors, with those competitors providing similar product or substitution products. substitute دې ته وایي چې د یو شي په ځای باندې ته بل شی استعمالولی شي هغې ته substitute وایي. لکه یو پنسل چې دی هغه د پن substitute دی یا پن چې دی هغه د پنسل substitute دی. نو دلته مې substitution ځکه ولیکو. وایي کمپنیز چې دي نو هغه په مقابله کې مقابله اوس ډېره ګرانه شوې ده ځکه چې نورې کمپنیانې راوځي د هغو په مقابله کې او substitute products راوباسي د یو شي په ځای باندې بل شي د استعمالولو product راوباسي. In addition, consumers nowadays are becoming more critical in terms of their needs and wants. Needs and wants. However, the competition is getting harder day after day. Therefore, صحیح راځي ځکه چې دا خبره یو شانتي فالو کړې ده. که اگینسټ یې تللی وی نو موږ به بیا وایو چې however. صحیح شو. که یوه خبره یې ورسره پلس کړی وی نو موږ به بیا وایو چې additionally. او انسټډ خو پکې نه راځي خو therefore صحیح راځي غوږ کې دی. In addition, consumers nowadays are becoming more critical in terms of their needs and wants. Therefore, the competition is getting harder day after day. Hence پکې نشته که نه. hence هم ښه راتودلی. Additionally, competition is getting harder. No. Instead, the competition is getting no. Therefore, the competition is harder. دغه صحیح دی. Moreover, with so much variety of products and services, companies have to give more attention to getting the required competitive advantage. Competitive advantage is about how the company is trying to compete in the market. Therefore, it is the dash of benefits. Therefore, it is the dash of benefits that the company is going to be able to deliver for its consumers while others are not. Competitive advantage is about how the company is trying to compete in the market. Competition getting moreover with so much variety of products and services. Companies have to give more attention to getting the required competitive advantage. Competitive advantage is about how the company is trying to compete in the market. Therefore, it is the dash of benefits that the company is going to be able to deliver for its consumers. While others are not. It is the determination of benefits combination. It is the determination. The dissemination of benefits that the company is going to be able to deliver for its consumers while others are not. Ordination of benefits. Therefore, it is the ordination of benefits that the company is going to be able to deliver to its consumers while others are not. Ordination, incarnation, determination of benefits. Dissemination خورولو ته وایي. Therefore, it is the dissemination of benefits. Dissemination ټیک ده. Of benefits that companies do not deliver for its consumers while others are not. However, some studies have identified some factors that may affect the competitive advantage of companies, such as provided quality, cost reduction, delivery time, innovation, and flexibility to do changes to product or services whenever it is needed. Innovation सही राजी. Accordingly, selling the product or service at a lower price than the competitors, or selling products or services with higher quality than other products and services will create good competitive advantage. This is सही ده. Next to tempo کې دومره نشته. Yeah, sorry. Long ago, ancient mariners successfully navigated a perilous ocean journey to arrive in Japan's Ryukyu Islands. A new study suggests archaeological sites on 6 of these isles, part of a 1,200-kilometer long chain, indicate that migrations to the islands spurred Dumra to Dumra years ago. Near the migration to the islands, part of a 1,200 kilometers long chain, indicate that migration to the islands occurred 35,000 to 30,000 years ago, both from the south via Taiwan and from the north via the Japanese island of Kyushu. But whether ancient humans navigated there on purpose or not, or drifted there by accident on the Kuroshio Ocean current, one of the world's largest and strongest currents, is unclear. The answer to that question could shed light on the proficiency of these Stone Age humans as mariners and their mental capabilities overall. Now satellite tracked buoys that simulated a wave or draft suggest that there's little chance that the seafarers reached the isles by accident. Now satellite tracked buoys that simulated a wave or draft, simulated, insulated, regulated, simulated. سټلایټ چې دی نو اوس د هغو نقل وکړو نو پته ولګېده چې دی بای اکسیډنټ دغې آیلینډز ته نه وتلي، خو لکه په قصد دغې آیلینډز ته تلي او دا آیلینډز هغو په قصد باندې ډسکور کړی و، په خپله په اراده باندې تلي و، لکه د سیند چپو د ځانه نه وړي. دا مونږه سټلایټس چې دی نو هغه مونږه سیمولیټډ دغه وکړو، ځکه اکرډ ډرفټډ شیډ سیمولیټډ صحیح دی. بل زو ښه 14 ټایم دونه نشته او 14 items به کوو په دې ټایم کې دننه. With Omicron spreading globally at a dizzying pace, Omicron, scientists are scrambling to learn how much as they can about the latest worrisome variants of the coronavirus. First spotted in South Africa and Botswana at the end of November, Omicron is already pointed to soon become the dominant variant. Already poising Omicron is already poising too soon to become the dominant variant. Pointed غلط راځي، poisoned غلط راځي، poised هم غلط راځي، poising. Too soon posing پکارو خو خیر. Become the dominant variant, dethroning Delta in some regions. Public health officials warn in few places it already has. So answers including how sick does do Omicron make people, and how will vaccines gobble it, wobble it, cobble it, hobble it. I don't know the meaning of any of these. Wobble, I know, to shake, wobble, gobble it. Gobble, I think. Vaccines, gobble it. Can't come fast enough. A rising tide of data on Omicron is beginning to provide a glimpse at what's ahead as we enter year 3 of the global pandemic, though many questions linger. And with many people preparing to gather with family and friends for holidays, experts are retracing for yet more case surges. Tracing for yet more case surges, compounded by already high infection rates in some countries linked to the still prevalent Delta variant. Omicron collision with the holiday and travel is a perfect storm. At this point, even vaccinated people should be taking precautions. First spotted in South Africa, already pausing too soon. People in how will vaccines gobble it can't come fast enough. Holidays experts are tracing for yet. Okay, let's go. Tem dona niște. Viasoi, rationing may be of several types. Informal rationing, which precedes the imposition of formal controls, may consist of admonitions to consumers to reduce their consumption, which precedes the imposition of formal controls, may consist of admonitions to consumers to reduce their consumption or of independent action taken their consumption or of independent action taken by suppliers in allocating scarce supplies. Rationing, according to use, prohibits the less important uses of commodity. Rationing by quantity may limit the hours during which rationing by quantity may limit the hours during which the commodity is available, or may assign quotas of commodity to all known and approved claimants. Rationing by value limits the amount consumer may spend on commodities that cannot be subsidized, standardized. Rationing by value limits the amount consumer may spend on commodities that cannot be subsidized. Consumer not be jeopardized. Consumer cannot be subsidized. Consumer is allowed to make their selections within the value limits imposed. Point rationing assigns the point value to each commodity and allocates a certain number of points equal. This system is employed during periods of critical and increasing shortages when individuals begin constituting, unrationed, persecuting, instituting, substituting unrationed for rationed items. Shortages, periods of critical and increasing shortages when individuals begin substituting unrationed for rationed items, thereby spreading shortages. Thereby spreading shortages. Consumer in a rationed economy are usually exhorted to save by purchasing government bonds. ډیر سیټیسفاید دي نه یم خو I think دا کوم words چې ما چوز کړي دي دغه شانتي ټیک دي. May consist of admonitions to consumers to reduce their consumption or of independent action taken by suppliers allocating source scarce supplies. Limit the hours during rationing by quantity may limit the hours during which the commodity is available. So rationing by value limits the amount consumer may spend on the commodities that cannot be subsidized. That cannot be deployed. Critical and increasing shortages when individual begin substitute. یاره صحیح دی مخې ته ځو ټایم پکې دونه نشته موږ ته 10 items نور کول دي ها دا خو د psychology related دی دې کې به زه ښه یم neuropsychological testing is one way to assess cognitive health. However, this option can be costly and labor intensive. In many cases, the basic screening will suffice for an understanding of a given individual's cognitive health status. There are several excellent tools available to practitioners for basic screening and tracking of cognitive health. Many of these tools are designed for the use with older people, but some are meant for use with the younger people as well. The Alzheimer's Association website offers a cognitive assessment toolkit that includes the Medicare annual wellness visit algorithm for the assessment of cognition. The assessment uses patient history, observation by clinicians, and concerns raised by the patient, family, or caregiver. The toolkit further includes three measures validated for use by professionals to assess and track validated for use by professional to assess and track a patient's cognitive health. نو دا د نیورولوژیکل ټیسټینګ په باره کې چې نیورولوژیکل ټیسټینګ څه شی دی او څوک یې یوز کوي او څنګه یوز کوي نو آی تھنک د دې نه زه سیټسفاید یم دا زما ښه و ولې چې زما فیلډ سایکالوجي او نیورولوژي سره دی بیا سوی انګلیش از ټایم یاره 15 minutes دی English is important not because several people know it, although it is factor to be remembered. Several people know it, although it is a factor to be remembered. It is not important because it is a language of Milton and Shakespeare, although that also has to be considered. English is important because it is the major window in the modern world, and we dare not close that window. If we close it, we imperil our future. Be it industrialization, scientific development, and technology, every door of modern knowledge will be closed if we do not have one or more foreign languages. We have French, German, and Russian if you like, but obviously it is infinitely simpler for us to deal with the language that we know than to shift over to French, German, Russian, and Spanish, which will be a tremendous job. Every competent scientist today has to know 2 or 3 non-native languages. In the present age of industrialization, mechanization, scientific progress, and research, we cannot progress without knowledge of English or, for that matter, French, German, or Russian. How come your sentence say that? Since many in the country can speak and understand English, the language is important for us. The literary importance of English cannot be underestimated. Language plays an important role in research and development. English has today become the language of the world. Since many in the country can speak and understand English, English today has become language of the world. Read the text and answer the question by selecting all the correct responses. More than one responses. ریسرچ او ډیولپمنٹ کې انګلیش رول ادا کوي ځکه امپورټنٹ دی او په ثابته دنیا کې ویل کېږي ځکه امپورټنٹ دی لیټرري امپورټنس باره کې خو څه نه دي ویلي او د کنټري په باره کې هم څه نه دي ویلي او دلته خو دا خبره هم کړې چې ملټن او شکسپیر ژبه ده it is not important because the language of Milton and Shakespeare لقد دوه صحیح دي یاره مخې ته ځو ښه دا به اوس په دا پیراګراف په صحیح لیول کې راولو shit ماته خو ټرم ډېر لږ دی one such example is solar panel that they in addition to being fairly costly a result of not being connected to the electricity grid in rural areas. Some cultures means people light their homes using kerosene lamps. To create smoke pollution and carbon emission. To being fairly costly, these create smoke pollution and carbon emission are being investigated. Suzuki. ټیم مې یاره خراب کړی دی ټیم را سره نشته د سره the camel is called the ship of the desert and there is a good reason for it where other animals would die good reason for it the camel gets around nicely because it carries food and water with it the journey of camel does nothing but eat and drink good reason for it where other animals would die in lack of food and water the camel gets along nicely because it carries food and water with it so the camel hump is a storage place for fat which the camel body will use up during the journey for days before it starts on a journey camel does nothing but eat and drink it eats so much that the hump fat maybe weighing as much as 100 pounds rises on its back so the camel hump storage place for fat which the camel body will use up during the journey the camel is called the ship of the desert because there is a good reason for it for days before it starts a journey a camel does nothing but eat and drink it eats so much that a hump of fat may be weighing as much as a number of pounds rises on its back so the camel hump is a storage place which the camel body will use up during the journey where other animals would die later nothing. Chemistry is an extremely important topic in physiology. Most biological processes occur as dash of chemical changes. Physiological processes occur as the result of chemical changes that occur within the body. These changes include the efflux of ions across a neuron's membrane, causing a dash to pass. Causes a signal to pass from one end to another. Other examples include the dash of oxygen, the usage of oxygen in the blood by a protein. The usage of oxygen in the blood by a protein. The storage of oxygen in a protein as it dashes through the lungs, as it passes through the lungs for a dash throughout the body, for usage throughout the body. دا خو simple. ما سره صرف د ټایم غم دی ټایم را سره 7 minutes دی او 3 questions کولی. It is important to dash the need for hard work is an essential. It is important to emphasize the need for hard work is an essential part of studying law because part students are tempted to think that they can succeed by relying on what they imagine to be their natural ability without bothering an expenditure of effort. To take analogy, some people prefer for more or less instant rewards gratification which comes for watching a television adaptation of a classical novel to rather more dire process of reading, laborious process of reading the novel itself. Those who dash watching television to read books, those who prefer watching television to reading books are less likely to study law successfully unless they rapidly require dash those who prefer watching television to reading books less likely to study law successfully unless they rapidly acquire a taste for the text. Yes, دام صحیح و ها دا می صحیح و خو ټیم را سره نشته. To learn the speech of alchemy, an early form of chemistry in which people attempted to turn metal into gold, it helps to think back at a time when there was no science, no atomic number way, no periodic charge, no list of elements to the alchemist. The dash was not made of leptons. The universe was not made of leptons. Instead, it was made of substances, and one substance, say walnut oil, could be just as dash as another, just as possible as another. Though modern scientists would say that heterogeneous and other homogeneous. Without knowledge of atomic structures, how would it be dash to tell the elements from compounds? How would it be possible? Heterogeneous and the other, without knowledge of atomic structures, how would it be dash to tell from the compounds? Possible delta bagay. Shit. Just as sure. Shit. Let's move on. Yes. Mistake no code got. The foreign policy of a state It is often argued begins and ends with the border. No doubt an exaggeration. This aphorism nevertheless has an dash of truth, element of truth. A state's relation and its emir, at least in the dash years, a state's relations with its neighbors, at least in the adjoining form, are greatly dashed by its frontier policy, especially when there are no dash borders. Especially when there are no dash borders. Empire building in the past sought to extend imperial frontiers to a variety of reasons. Its subjugation of kings and princesses to gain their allegiance, as well as handsome tribute for the officers of the state, and the security of the core of the empire for external attacks by establishing a string of buffer states in areas the history of British Empire in India was no different. Areas come on. Last one. Oh shit, paragraph read call party. دا یو مې پکې توکه ویشتي ده خو دې سره تخکاري in other two څه شو two chains دی پکې thymine او cytosine په DNA کې the first feature of construction of not one chain but two. These two chains are called around a common fiber axis. As I mean, as in the sense oh damn it was listening لرازو ها دا زموږ اخرنی سیکشن دی hopefully دا زموږ اخرنی سیکشن دی او په دې کې به اخرنی پارت دی چې listening اوریدلي په دې کې دوه سیکشنز دي په اولني سیکشن کې summarize spoken text او multiple choice choose multiple answer fill in the blanks highlight correct summary او multiple choice choose 30 to 43 دا به مونږ ډېر کویک وکړو listening کې زه ښه یم let's go اورې به او بیا به یې summary دلته کې لیکې په یو paragraph کې
Within most developed countries, notions of pragmatism, notions of the fact that we have democracies, have succeeded in tempering the market economy. In the 19th century, 18th century, the Industrial Revolution had some very negative effects on people, particularly working classes all over the world. We see data where Life expectancy was reduced, hikes were reduced. We can look at medical records and see that actually living standards in among large fractions of the population actually went down. But eventually we passed legislation about working conditions, and eventually we circumscribed some of the worst kinds of behavior. We eventually, in the 20th century, we put regulations that imposed better environmental conditions. And so some of the damage was reversed, and that we have made the market economy work in ways that the benefits of it are at least far more widely shared than they were 100 years ago.
The lecturer is talking about how 100 years ago a pragmatic system of running society The lecture is talking about how 100 years ago a pragmatic system of running society was creating public and foreign problem is compared to the present democratic systems which circumnavigates those problems from 100 years ago. The lecturer is presenting a comparative case of previous historical societies and the way they dealt with their political problems as compared to the modern day and age, and how we have improved upon previous ways, systems. A comparative case of previous historical societies and the way they dealt with their political problem as compared to the modern day and age, and how we have improved upon previous systems. गुजारा बाकी इंशाल्लाह. Let's go. previous task دی اوس په یو اډیو موږ لره کې هغه اډیو به اورو او بیا به لاندې شارټ پیراګراف د هغه اډیو په ایکسپلینیشن باندې کې لیکو.
And I'm the professor of children's literature at Newcastle University. And I wanted to write a very short introduction to children's literature because although here in Britain we have one of the longest and most distinguished traditions of creating books for children, perhaps the longest and most distinguished in the world, we often take them for granted and we don't pay enough attention to what a remarkable cultural resource they are for adults and the kind of cultural work they do for children and the way that they've served writers and illustrators as a cultural space for creativity, subversion and opportunities to experiment with new ideas. So what kind of cultural work do children's books do? Well, at the level of an individual child, this is one of the places where children learn the vocabularies, get the vicarious experiences, and see the images of the world that help them think about how the world works and where they fit into it. Because children's books are one of the first places that children encounter these things, they're often very direct as a source of information about what a particular period thinks, including what it thinks a child is, what a child needs to know, what childhood looks like. Sometimes when we're looking at children's books from the past, it's very important to notice the kinds of children who aren't there, for instance. So that's one of the things that we have in children's books.
A lecturer from England, from Britain, is talking about the importance of children's books. That children's books that Britain has a long history of publishing and writing children's books. It has a significant cultural value for the children. It teaches them how what a child is, how they should behave and interact with the world. A child's book is a crucial element in the A child's book is a crucial element in the development in the cultural development but a crucial element in the cultural development of a child. Yes, it has been for ages in Britain. A lecturer from Britain is talking about the importance of children's books. The Britain has a long history of publishing and writing children's books. It has a significant cultural value for the children. It teaches them what a child is, how they should behave and interact with the world. Should behave and interact with the world. A child's book is not only an important piece of literature, but a crucial element in the cultural development of a child, as it has been for ages in Britain. I think دلته دونه پوره دی. آډیو به اورئ او بیا به دې کې یو مارک کې کوم چې کریکټ یا ټول به مارک کې.
Hey, Jeff, have you been to the new library yet?
Oh, hi, Jen. Yes, I went last week to check it out. I really like it.
Yes, I like it too. I like the study areas. There seemed to be a lot of room to just spread out and focus on the books. It's way better than the old library where it seemed like we were all jammed into one area. Sometimes it was even hard to find a spot to study because it was so crowded, especially during exams. I even like the chairs at the new place. They're super comfy.
You're right. The only bad thing about it is that it's pretty far away. It takes me about 20 minutes to get there by bus, so I can see myself not going all the way downtown if I'm in a pinch for time. I'd probably just stay in the residence and study there.
I was thinking that too. It's too bad it takes so long to get there. I don't like being dependent on the buses. Have you tried riding your bike there? It might take a little longer, but at least you're getting a bit of exercise.
That's a good idea, Jen. Maybe I'll try riding this week. I just have to make sure I'm good and rested. Sometimes when I'm overtired, I'm not too coordinated. Knowing me, I'd have a load of books on my backpack and get distracted by something and crash my bike.
Well, you've just got to keep an eye out for those potholes. Oh, wow, look at the time. I've got to get to my next class. I'll see you around, Jeff.
Good talking to you, Jen. I'll be seeing you.
دا خبره خو پکې در سره نه ده کړې چې دا لایبرری چې ده نو دا سټوډنټانو له بایسیکل ورکوي. صحیح شو؟ نو دا خبره خو پکې نه ده کړې. بل چې دوی پکې دا خبره وکړه چې زړه لایبرري کې به ځای نه میلاوېدو د کېناستو د سټډي په دې نیو لایبرري کې خو ځای میلاوېږي د کېناستو. نو دا اپشن خو پکې در سره نه دی.
Dogs aren't just man's best friend. Previous studies have shown that kids with dogs are less likely to develop asthma. Now a new study may show how, if results from mice apply to us. The work was presented at a meeting of the American Society for Microbiology. The study tests what's called the hygiene hypothesis. The idea is that extreme cleanliness may promote disease later on. Researchers collected dust from homes that had a dog. They fed that house dust to mice. They then infected the mice with a common childhood infection called respiratory syncytial virus, or RSV.
ټیک شو په دې کې به ډیر زیات کویک اوسېږي ښه ویجیلنټ بالکل اکټیو الرټ به ورته ناسې چې ته زر زر او په ټایپینګ سپیډ پکې هم په کار راځي که دا شی دنه میس شو نو هغه به دا هم ویلی دا به هم ویلی دا به هم ویلی او ته په دې ځای کې ناسې نو بیا به ته مسالې په دې کې به تعدي کوې د ورک واز پریزنټډ at a meeting سپیلنګونه به صرف چک کې هایجین hypothesis the idea extreme cleanliness ratio او common صحیح ده
Rebuilding carbon-rich agricultural soils is the only real productive permanent solution to taking excess carbon dioxide from the atmosphere. She's frustrated that scientists and politicians don't see the same opportunities she sees. This year Australia will emit just over 600 million tons of carbon. We can sequester 685 million tons of carbon by increasing soil carbon by 0.5% on only 2% of the farms. If we increased it on all of the farms, we could sequester the whole world's emissions of carbon.
Only real productive permanent solution away. How she's frustrated that scientists and politicians. How this year Australia will emit just over Dumra. How we can sequester 685 million tons of carbon by increasing soil carbon. بس دفعه یې آډیو به اوري او په دې درو کې به یو سلیکټ کوي چې کم یو د آډیو مطابق صحیح دی.
It's easy to think that humans are the only species that have true friendships, but animals make friends too. What do we know about these friendships?
Well, we thought for a long time that animals only have friends for biological reasons, so their genes will continue. After all, it's easier for animals to survive with the help of another animal. We thought that animals only helped each other to get help in return. But there's growing evidence that tells us this isn't true. Animals can also be generous and give up something important for a friend without expecting anything back from them, just like humans.
And what about friendships between animals from different species?
Like the bird that looked after the cat, you mean? Those friendships are very interesting. We actually know very little about them at the moment, but we're starting to look at them more closely.
We used to think that animals have friends only for biological reasons because they are unable to be generous and give up something important for a friend without expecting anything back from them. We used to think that animals have friends only for biological needs, but we are discovering that animals can also be friends like humans can, and can sometimes have friends from different species. We used to think that animals have friends only for biological reasons because we focus too much on how animals need to survive with the help of another animal. دا یو صحیح دی ها وی مونږ وی چې صرف د بایولوژیکل ریزن او سیکشوال او ریپروډکټیو ریزنز د پاره چې د انیملز د یو بل ملګري خو اوس مونږ ډیسکور کوو چې انیملز هم د انسانانو په شان ملګري ساتي اکثر د ډیفرنٹ سپیشیز نه هو that is better.
In order to know how behavior patterns can be changed, the clinical psychologist has to know what causes the client to behave the way he or she does. Identifying the cause is called diagnosis. In diagnosis, a psychologist uses two basic tools, interviews and psychological tests. Through interviews and tests, the psychologist tries to classify the problem to see if it falls into any known categories. A psychologist may also attempt to describe the client's personality in terms of how he or she deals with life. For example, some people like to lead, and some prefer to follow the lead of others. Some people are active and outgoing, while others are quiet and reflective. In a diagnostic interview, the psychologist takes the client's case history. This means learning how the client got along with parents, teachers, and friends, as well as how the person handled difficult situations in the past. Psychological testing is the other way that a psychologist tries to diagnose the client's problems. Clinical psychologists have developed tests that can help them learn about a person's intelligence and personality, as well as tests that show whether a person's behavior or perception is influenced by emotions, disabilities, or other factors. Personality testing is useful in discovering how the client tries to adjust to life. Personality tests can reveal unconscious feelings the person is unable to talk about. This information can be important and could help shorten the length of treatment required.
پروفیسر وایي چې د کلاینټ نه هیستري ولې سایکالوجست د کلاینټ نه هیستري ځکه اخلي چې ټرن ته سټوریز کوي که نه to compare the case history of various clients نه to explain why some lie and some tell the truth نه to show the client past behavior assist in the diagnosis. دا خو د سایکالوجي ریلیټډ زما د فیلډ ریلیټډ دی دا یو ماته آسان دی. only one response correct دی نو بس دغه صحیح دی.
People are always talking about the problem of youth. If there is one, which I take leave to doubt, then it is older people who create it, not the young themselves. Let us get down to fundamentals and agree that the young are, after all, human beings, people just like their elders. There is only one difference between an old man and a young one. The young man has a glorious future before him, and the old one has a splendid future behind him. And maybe that is where the rub is. When I was a teenager, I felt that I was just young and uncertain, that I was a new boy in a huge school, and I would have been very pleased to be regarded as something so interesting as a problem. For one thing, being a problem gives you a certain identity, and that is one of the things the young are busily
escaping. او ینګ کس چې دی نو هغه از ا پرابلم ښکارېږي او ینګ کسان چې دی نو هغه بیزي دي په څه کې په کتو کې که په اسکیپینګ کې د دې خبرې نه د وتو چې پرابلم په شان ورته ګورې نو هغو به په اسکیپینګ کې بیزي. دا اډیو به راته وایي او اخرنی به بیپ پیږي په هغې بیپ کې چې کوم ټکي صحیح راځي هغه به سلیکټ کړي لکه په اډیو کې چې fill in the blanks کوي دي شي. Next one.
Classified advertisements placed by individuals in newspapers and magazines are not covered by the Advertising Standards Authority's Code of Practice. If you happen to buy goods that have been wrongly described in such an advertisement and have lost money as a result, the only thing you can do is bring a case against the person who placed the advertisement for misrepresentation or for breach of contract. In this case, you would use the small claims procedure, which is a relatively cheap way to sue for the recovery of a debt. If you want to pursue a claim, you should take into account whether the person you are suing will be able to pay damages, should any be awarded. Dishonest traders are aware of this and often pose as private sellers to exploit the legal loopholes that exist. That is, they may claim they are not in a position to pay damages.
If you want to pursue a claim, you should take into account whether the person you are suing will be able to pay damages, should any be. I think that will become very quickly the audio Z kana ho breach of contrast no breach of contract ho kana da ho sahi sho. Recovery update. If you want to pursue a claim, you should take into account خیر یو وار به ریډ هم کو classified advertisements placed in individual and newsprint in magazine are not covered by the Advertising Standards Authority Code of Practice. If you happen to buy goods that have been wrongly described in such an advertisement and have lost money as a result, the only thing you can do is bring a case against the person who placed the advertisement for misrepresentation or for breach of contract. In this case, you would use the small claims procedure, which is a relatively cheap way to sue for the recovery of a debt. Recovery of a debt. If you want to pursue a claim, you should take into account whether the person you are suing will be able to pay damages, should any be recovered. They recovered while you cannot rewarded now. Dishonest traders are aware of this and often pose as private sellers to exploit the legal loopholes that exist. Many claims are not in the position to pay damages. May claim they are not in position. Okay, let's go. اکټیو به اوسېږي چې ورډ د نه میس نشي. د ده د آډیو سره به په یو ریدم کې روان یو کم ورډ چې دی ونه وي او لاندې لیکلی نو هغه کلیک کړئ.
Leisure travel was, in a sense, a British invention. This was mainly due to economic and social factors. Britain was the first country to become fully industrialized, and industrial society offered growing numbers of people time for leisure. This, coupled with improvements in transport, especially the railways, meant that large numbers of people could get to holiday resorts in a very short time. Modern mass tourism, of a sort we can easily recognize today, began in 1841, when Thomas Cook organized the first package tour, in which everything was included in the cost: travel, hotel, and entertainment. To cater for the large numbers of new holidaymakers, holiday camps were established, both on the coast and in the countryside, and they became immensely popular. Their popularity declined, however, with the rise of cheap overseas tours, which gave many people their first opportunity to travel abroad.
Included in the cost ویلې او پرایس یې نه ویلې. د دې ټریول په ځای ابراډ ویلې اباوټ یې نه و. د دې پیکټ په ځای پیکیج ویلې و او افورد ګریټر نمبرز نه و بل څه شی و. نو دا مختلف ټکي پکې موږ کلیک کړو. مخې ته ځو. سنټنس به هو لیکې دلته.
We are researching the most significant challenges we are facing in our society today.
We are researching the most significant challenges we are facing today. We are researching the most significant challenges we are facing today. سنټنس به وای او زه به یې هغه شانتې لیکم.
Remember, the prestigious election of student membership has strict eligibility criteria.
منځ کې رانه لږ یاره شوی دی. Remember مې یاد دی. Remember, the prestigious scholarship has a strict eligibility criteria. دوباره آډیو نشي پلی کولی خو بس څنګه چې دې واورېدو. آډیو ته غوږ د خیر د ټایپینګ باندې تادیمه کوه چې زه ټایپینګ وکړم. خو audio مکمل هوره او یاد یې ساته. Remember, the prestigious scholarship has a strict eligibility criteria.
The supposed benefit of space exploration has been frequently questioned.
Why the supposed benefit of space exploration has been frequently questioned. The supposed benefit of space exploration has been frequently questioned. Click here to finish test. Bas. Test finish. Written review. چې ستا experience څنګه و؟ نو بل ته وایي چې my experience was amazing. Oh, thanks for providing the free test to us for preparation. Was Guru. Your review has been submitted successfully. Thank you. Result زما پریپیر کوي خدای خیر چې 100 مارکس په مې راغلي. ما ولې پریپریشن نو کړی په ذهن کې یاد ساتئ چې دې له ما پریپریشن نو کړی، نه دا کوېسچن یې ما ته په ایډوانس کې پته وه، نه په دې ریکارډینګ کې ما څه انټرپشن ناوستی دی، خو بالکل هوبهو مې ستاسو د مخې دا کوېسچن یې اټمپټ کړي دي. سکور که مې ښه او که بد دي تاسو ته به یې شو کړم، ولې چې دا زما اولنی اټمپټ و، نو زما سره فلیکسیبیلیټي د امپرومنټ دپاره ډېره ده. ما په آیلټس کې 7 بینډ راوستی او هغه ریزلټ زما سره شته، او د آیلټس ټیسټ ډېر ډیفرنټ دی او د وایي چې د پی ټي ای نه ډیفیکلټ هم دی. ما خو ایکسپیرینس کړه واقعي آیلټس ښه پوره ډیفیکلټي د دې نه، نو هغې کې زما 7 بینډ راغلی او دا کمپیوټر ټیسټ دی او لږ ایزي دی، خو خیر په بعضې ځایونو کې ما میسټیکس کړي دي ښه پوره. ګورو چې دی په اوس زما خل دی په کمپیوټر باندې چیک کي که نه، ای آی سیسټم به یې چیک کي چې یاره زمونږ کم کوېسچن چې کریکټ وي هغه مونږ سلیکټ کړي دي که نه مونږ انکریکټ سلیکټ کړي دي. ښه زما پیراګراف او هغه به هم جج کوي چې پیراګراف زما څنګه و، صحیح و که نه و، لاجیکل فلو، پروناونسیشن زما د سپیکینګ و، زما ملټیپل چوایس کوېسچنز و، لیسنینګ، ریډینګ، ټایپینګ، سپیکینګ، دا ټول به زما اوس چیک کوي، ټیسټ کوي، د هغې ریزلټ به ما له راوباسي. دغه شانتې فری ټیسټ تاسو هم کولی شئ په خپل دغه کې، او any time تاسو دا ټیسټ کولی شئ. وایي refresh the page after some time. چې refresh یې کړو څه وایي پیج refresh کړو، نه completed یې ورته ویلي دي خو راځي نو. نو ملګرو دا سکور زما 67 out of 90 راغی. ویری فرست اټمپټ. یاد ساتئ زه تاسو ته بار بار وایم چې دا زما د پی ټي ای مکمل اولنی ټیسټ و چې ما ورکو، د دې نه مخکې نه د پی ټي ای ټول کوېسچن یې ما ریډ کړي دي، نه مې پریپریشن کړی دی، نه مې ورله تیاری کړی دی، نه مې په دې ویډیو کې څه ایډیټینګ کړی دی. دا زما بالکل ایکچوال سکور فار د فرست اټمپټ راغی. ریزلټ باندې کلیک کوو، ریزلټ باندې کلیک کوو چې څه وایي. اوکې نو listening کې زما 65 which is weird 67 زما په reading کې 66 په speaking کې 69 په writing کې overall score زما 67 زما ایمیل زما نوم دا هر څه یې پکې دلته mention کړي دي بار ګراف یو څه بل څه دا تاسو داسې ډاونلوډ کولی هم شئ د ځان دا صحیح شو دا خو الیجیبل ټیسټ نه دی دا خو هسې یو پریکټیس ټیسټ دی که نه اکچوال پی ټي ای نه دی دې پې هغه خپل واټر مارک هم دی ورکړی دی خو اینی هاو دا لکه تاله یو اگزامپل درکوي یو پریپریشن درکوي تا ته مکمل وښیي چې یاره په پی ټي ای سنټر کې دننه به زما سره څه کېږي او څنګه ټیسټ به زما مخې له راځي نو اینی هاو دغه یو کمپلیټ دغه شو ته خپل انسرز هم دلته کلیک کولی شي کتی شي که ته په انسرز باندې کلیک کې نو دلته کې به ته دا ډیټیل هم وښی چې سامپل آډیو څه وه ستا انسر دلته څه صحیح شو نو دلته کې ستا انسر یې ښیي تا ته ریپیټ سنټنس کې درته دلته کې ټپس اینډ ټریکس هم ښیي خو دغه ستا هغه انسرز دي او دغه کوېسچنز دي د دې ایمیج په باره کې دا انسر ما ورکړی و او زما هغه انسر چې دی هغه دی بیا په ریټن کې راویستی دی نو دغسې دا و زه په دې څیزونو کې لږ ټې ګډوډ شوی وم دا ایمیج چې ریډ کې او بیا یې د دې د ویلو سل طریقې دي نو هغه په دې باندې پریکټس کول غواړي چې یاره زه به ګراف څنګه ډسکرایب کوم زه به ایمیج او څنګه چارټ به څنګه ډسکرایب کوم صحیح شو دغه پکې و د دې نه علاوه دا ټول کوېسچنز دي او د هغې سره زما انسرز دي کوم چې الریډي موږ وکړو نو دوباره پې بیا نه ځو ټپس اینډ ټریکس کې تاسو دغه کولی شئ دغه صرف د سپیکینګ و دا زما د رایټینګ دی پیډسټل زما سپیلینګ غلط دی آی تھنک پاسبل سپیلینګ میسټیک پیډسټل ای نه دی ای دی پیډسټل دی دیر کې ای مخکې دی آی وروسته دی پاپولس کې پاپولس سپیلینګ دغه شانتې دی مسنټ کې ډیډ یو مین مسنټ دغه ما غلط لیکلی دی هول صحیح شو پیډسټل کې ای دی امپلایمنټ دا پی ګیپ چې دی په دې کې سپیس پکارو نو دا زما میسټیکس دي دا چې دی ټمپریچر چې دی نو سپیلینګ مې غلط لیکلی دی سم پکې غلطي کړي په پی پسې ای لیکل دي په پی پسې به ای لیکې ټمپریچر سپیلینګ مې غلط و مینیل چې دی نو مینیل چې ایم ای ان آی ای ال دی ډبل ان نه دی ما ډبل ان لیکلی دی نو دغه زما سپیلینګ میسټیکس دي په رایټینګ کې په ریډینګ کې چې دی نو دا څیزونه زما صحیح و ډیسیمینیشن غلط و دلته کې ډیټرمینیشن صحیح پکارو دا مې صحیح دي ټول دا یو مې فاین دی دا یو چې دی او بلډي هیل دلته زما درې میسټیکس دي پویزډ راځو د پویزینګ په ځای باندې هابل لاتو د ګوبل په ځای دا ما تاسو ته ویلي ما یې دې په مینینګ زه پوه نه یم بریسینګ پکار و ما ټریسینګ لیکلی دی ډېر زیات کوېسچنز مې په دې آیټم کې میسټیکس مې کړي دي دلته سټینډرډایزډ کنزیومر دی کین ناټ بي سبسیډایزډ ما لیکلی دی ویچ از رانګ دا یو مې بلکل صحیح دی دا یو مې غلط دی انګلیش as language of the world plays an important role in research and development literary importance دا پکارو دا نو پکار خو په ما باندې د ټیم تعدي راغلي و که تاسو خیال نو ټیم چې دی په صحیح طریقې سره مینیج کول پکاري میبي چې بیا زه ما پیراګراف صحیح ریډ کړی په ډیټیل سره او انسر مې صحیح راغلی وی خو البته میسټیکس راځي په ټیسټ کې دا مې بالکل صحیح دی دې کې مې دوه غلط کړي دي دا سنټنس اول پکارو خو په دې ورپسې بیا دا دویم پکارو پسو د کیمل نه شروع وه او ویر ادر انیملز وډ ډای پکارو بیا دا بالکل لاست نه دا سیکنډ پکارو نو بیا به صحیح و دا مې بالکل صحیح و دا مې بالکل صحیح دی دې کې مې پاسبل غلط کړی دی possible پیور پکارو possible په ځای پیور پکارو formative in adjoined او influence formative پکارو د adjoining په ځای باندې invaded په ځای باندې adjoining پکارو په دې دوو کې غلط شوی یم دا یو مې صحیح و. نو دا زما دغه و ریډینګ و. په لیسنینګ کې مې څه غلطیانې کړي دي. پرابلمز spelling mistake دی. problems, those problems. Sorry, the word has been used in the one of the immediately preceding sentence. Use a synonym. ها په problems دی یو وار دلته کې یوز کړی دی نو دوباره problems نه و پکار. د دې په ځای پکار و ماله چې ما issues لیکلی دی. issues صحیح شو. total words مې 74 دی. error مې یو کړی دی. spelling error مې 0 دی. خو structure error مې کړی دی. یو وار دی problem یوز کړو بل وار issue یوز کوه. دا چې دی دلته کې مې Britain spelling error دی. د Britain spelling داسې نه دی. spelling به د Britain چې دی Britain صحیح دی. ها Britain دی دوه پیرې یوز کړی دی نو یو وار دی Britain یوز کړو بل وار spelling mistake پکې هم دی. ها دا دواړه صحیح وو. دلته کې دا صحیح وو. دا مې هم صحیح سلیکټ کړو. دا سمري مې هم صحیح سلیکټ کړو. دا مې هم صحیح. دا هم صحیح. دا هم صحیح. دا هم صحیح. نو in our society ها incorrect words ته دلته ښایي چې prestigious election of student membership دا words پکې نه و. دې کې incorrect words نه و. دې کې مې in our society دا پکې incorrect words و. نو دا زما listening و. anyhow ته بیا دلته کې په tips and tricks باندې هم select کولی شي. دې ته شو کوي که نه چې score contribution moderate. Don't exceed the word limit which is 70. ها 70 words نه مې سیوا لیکلي دا به نه کې. Don't write the entire summary in capital letters. capital letters ټول مه یوز کوه. نو دغه درکوي که نه چې لکه تا څه غلطیانې کړي دي او څنګه چې دی لکه اوس ټپس اینډ ټریکس بیا تاله درکوي په کم ځای کې چې ته غلطي وکړې که نه نو تاله بیا د هغه ځای په باره کې ټپس درکړي چې یاره دلته کې دا خپل غلطي ته څنګه ختمولی شي. لکه تاله څه کار پکار دی. فار اگزامپل اوس دلته کې چې زمانه دا 3 words غلط راغلي دي دلته کې که نه in our society دا پکې نه و پکار نو دی ماله څه ټپس راکوي په دې باره کې. Don't write the whole sentence in capital letters. Or if you are unaware of the singular or plural form of the word, you can write both the words. You will not be penalized for writing an extra word. نو ته word یا words چې دی دواړه لیکلی شي په منځ کې سلیش وکړه نو دغه به بیا که پلورل دی که نه دی دا پته درته نه نو ته داسې هم کولی شي چې لیټر او بیا سلیش او لیټرز چې یا لیټر دی یا لیټرز دی دواړه سلیش دی به کړی نو په هغې مارکس نه کړی. anyway دا دغه شو ویډیو د دې نه ډېره اوږده ونو. نور ویډیوز به هم په تفصیل سره په ډیټیل سره د هر یو آیټم په باره کې دا به زه ستاسو سره شیر کوم. د دې ویډیو کتو دپاره شکریه. زه یم فیروز خان د فاسټ ویزا سنټر نه. چینل سبسکرایب کړئ بیل آیکان پریس کړئ چې نوې ویډیوګانې د دې په شانتې زه تاسو ته جوړوم او تاسو ته ایمیډیټ نوټیفیکیشن په موبایل او ستاسو په ډیوایسز راځي چې بله ویډیو ما اپلوډ کړه. د دې کتو دپاره شکریه. مهرباني. السلام علیکم.